at the male audience of people from 13 to 19. So we know how to actually infiltrate them personally, instead of just generally having exhibiting our film. So therefore, we aren't aiming at maybe girls or adults or other teenagers. So therefore, we can actually direct it straight away from our script straight away to the teenagers, which has helped us to accurately to manipulate our storyboard and our thriller film so we can directly make these people interested in our film. From the results we had from our thriller survey, we found out that 72% of people wanted our thriller film to have an aspect of horror in it. An example of this is the end gunshot at the title sequence. At the end of our title sequence, when the screen goes black and the main portrayal comes on. We'll show you this here. Because this was originally not in our storyboard, we had to add it in as an added bonus. This has helped us because you wouldn't have originally had this, but since we had the questionnaire, we feel this will actually make our thriller film much better, and this will help us appeal to our audience more as a as a subgenre of horror as well as thriller. Editing, we learned how to import on a computer. This originally caused massive problems as we couldn't actually get the footage onto the computer. We asked our teachers, our mates, so we had to use our enhancements of technologies, our initiative, to use search engines such as Google. We actually managed to find a specific website that helped us, which was www.iskyssoftware.com/article/import camcorder video -2 Mac. This helped us massively as it helped us get our footage off the camcorder onto the actual Apple Mac. So therefore we could actually start the original process of editing and adding the individual bits. This is just one setback we found about when we tried to actually edit. As none of us have actually used Macs or owned Macs before, as you can tell from these pictures here, this meant that we had to go from straight away. This meant straight away we had to go on iMovie. We had to learn how to use it. We actually pretty much learned to use the ropes. We couldn't use contrast, speed up clips. We couldn't cut clips. We couldn't move clips. We couldn't do anything. So therefore, we had to actually learn so we could use different camera stuff. We learned from this process that editing involves lots of different aspects, including originally putting in our good scenes and then maybe taking some out and adding in some bad scenes. Because some of the scenes we thought we were going to scrap, we ended up using because it actually went well with the thrillery genre and the thriller aspects of the film. This is more than we would have done if we had used the original scenes. When we managed to do this and put the different films on, all of the different scenes on, we managed to put doubles of every scene according to our storyboard in order onto the Mac, so we could choose what scene was best, what scene was worst, what scenes could go in order. We'll show you this right here. This meant if we had to compare two scenes, like the contrast, the sound, we could actually look at the both scenes. We could compare the sound, we could compare and analyse the sound and stuff, and what scene we thought would add most to our film we would add. The problem we had was the editing was actually a much longer process than we thought it would be, because the original cutting of the films and changing the scenes and speeding the scenes was much longer than we anticipated, so we didn't allow as much time as we thought, because originally we had a 30-second long phone call, which I'll show you here. This was actually in our film, but because we only had a time limit of 2 minutes, we couldn't actually use this phone call scene, so we ended up cutting out the scene altogether, as you can see from our final film. We also used the enhancements of technology because we couldn't find very many shadows because we filmed it in the day. The lighting was obviously way too light. So therefore we had to add the gradual process of turning every single scene into black and white using contrast and lighting effects. There's a picture of us turning the scene into black and white right here. As you can see, this adds massively to the thriller conventions of the mystery and sense of mysteriousness and isolation and the people of our film. We also had to add many different texts into our film, such as the producers the producers and the SAS production and the cast, such as me, Simon, filmers Dan. Without the enhancements of technology, we wouldn't be able to do this in our film, but we managed to play the music over the actual scenes of when we flashed in the producers and stuff to make it less boring and make it more of a thriller convention. And at some point we managed to dim down sounds. Like the heartbeat originally was very loud and then it went quiet. So because of the enhancements in technology, we could make it quiet when I was more nervous. No, we could make it quiet when I was less nervous. We could make it louder when I was more nervous, and just things like that.
Looking back at our preliminary task, there's a lot of stuff we've learned. That was about 3 months ago now, and it was very basic, just a quick conversation, like basic camera shots such as shot, reverse shot, and there was a few close-ups and mid-range shots, but that was about as complex as it got. Since then though, in the production of our major 2-minute film, we've learned a lot, such as editing, camera shots, composition, and how to work as a group. Firstly, editing. We've learned how the colour and brightness has an effect on the way the audience sees what you filmed. For example, we changed ours into black and white, as you'll see. This helps the thriller conventions. However, it's hard as it makes it dark and that's scary. It makes it sort of look like gloomier, because otherwise it looked like just a boy going for a walk in the park in daylight. However, this made it hard to see the shadows, which sort of contradicts our thriller conventions, as that was the main one we focused on to keep it scary. Camera shots. In our 2-minute film, we used match on action with when me and Stuart were talking here. We used long shots and pans, and when Stuart's walking into the main area of the house. And shot, reverse shot when we were talking and when we were passing the gun over towards the end here. We learned a lot about composition and how to use transitions. We were going to use fading, but we were going to use fading for all of it, aren't we? But then we only ended up doing it for the title sequences, as this sort of helps you zoom in and out and know exactly where you're up to. And on this, we've also learned how to embed a picture of the surrounding area, which we got off the internet. We got a picture of the house that we're in, and it flashes up when title sequences do. We chose to use the mostly jump cuts and quick fades because this sort of keeps it fast flowing, keeps it thrilling, and keeps it really going quickly. After we'd completed the production of our film, we carried out a questionnaire to see audience's reaction. This was based to just our target audience of teenagers, so 13 to 19-year-olds. The first question was just whether they enjoyed our film or not. This was a fairly pleasing response. We got 50-50, so half liked it, half didn't, which is our first film, so not too bad. The second question was about editing and whether they thought it was effective when making it a thriller. The main response to this was not so pleasing. Most said that it was ineffective, so maybe they didn't like the black and white, or they would prefer more sound or a different soundtrack playing over the top, or maybe more sound effects to make it more scary, as well as the heartbeat and the gunshot that we've already included. Then question 3 was about the props, which was another pleasing reaction. As many says that it was enjoyable as it was specific to a certain genre, which was exactly what we were looking for. Question 4 focused on the transitions, which was again 50-50, so some enjoyed it as it fits the theme. The transitions we used between the normal shots were just jump cuts to keep it flowing, but then between title sequences we used transitions like the sort of faded in and faded out, and they like this as it fits the theme because so that's like gloomy and mysterious how it suddenly fades between. Those that didn't enjoy it was that many thought it wasn't noticeable. This could be because some of our audience didn't know maybe what transitions were, because we just didn't ask people that knew a lot about media. We just did it to our range of audience through email for people we know. Question 5 was based on improvement. It was which areas you think could be best improved. The main reaction we got to this was the script and the composition. We agree with that, as the script, we know we did plan an original script and we put a lot of time into it, and then on the day we didn't stick to it as much as we'd like to. We sort of rushed ahead, didn't really plan use what we planned, and sort of made a lot of it up on the spot. So we agree with that, and it could be improved definitely. And composition, which we know we also could have improved. Question 6 was, what do you think about the script? So only two people did like it out of the 10 respondents we got. So again, yeah, it shows that the audience noticed our sort of the major fault we made of not sticking to our plan that we made and spent so much time over. Question 7 is, what do you think about the length of the title sequences that we'd inserted? We used title sequences quite a few times to introduce the SAS production, which is our team name. And in this, we had a photo of the house of which we'd done it, and it sort of zoomed in slowly with the title sequence coming up on it. The length was reported to be quite good, as it is long enough to keep so they can read it well enough and understand what it's trying to say, but without splitting up the time difference between scenes too much. Favourite part was said to be the. Question 8 was quite a nice one because it was positive in what was your favourite part of the film. Overall, there was quite a few different answers, but overall, the majority said that their favourite part was the ending, where the gunshot comes in and the sort of blood splatters up at the ending. They believed this was the best bit as it was kind of mysterious and not what they'd expected. I think most had expected Stuart, who had the gun originally, to kill either one of us or all of us, but instead he ends up giving the gun to me, and then it makes it seem as though I've shot him, hence the name Portrayal. However, this is not certain for the audience, as it gives it a bit of mystery and wonder as to what the gunshot resembles, and I think this is what made it a favourite part for those who watched the film.